up here in Muckleshoot. This is 2006 Muckleshoot, and they come from as far as Grand Ronde, Oregon, from the Aleut Islands, and up and down the coast. It's just awesome feeling. Yeah. They're just making it in here now, and as they're coming in, they're coming in front of their crowd, you know, like, and putting their paddles up, and you know, like this is the final destination. It's reclaiming who we are. Basically, that's what it is. And it's a celebration of life, celebration of sobriety, celebration of just reclamation of our identities as Coast Salish peoples, canoe families. And most of all, having lots of fun with our youth and showing them the ways of the highways of the ocean, and reconnecting with relatives and families up and down the coast. Oh, it was awesome. It was beautiful. It was something you never forget once you start. I often wondered why, you know, how our ancestors did do this traveled the highways, and how they went to visit. Now I know. It's not easy, but you know, once you're in shape, and if you do it all the time, that's no sweat.
Yeah, protocol is something you do before you land on someone's land, where the head chief or leader of the group, you ask permission to come ashore. So they usually start with the furthest canoes out, and then so we'll all line up, and then they'll have each skipper or each group talk and ask permission to come aboard. And that's called protocol, and it's just basically asking permission to come aboard, to come to land.
We've been traveling for a very long time. Some canoes have been on the waters for 3 weeks. We come to have some blueback. We request permission to come ashore.
To all you honorable people, you have arrived here at Muckleshoot, and we welcome you. It is good for all of us to gather together here together. As Joe il chat, alti slab the beach chat. It's so good to see each and every one of you. As he il quis oalik alti chat. It is healing for our people to gather together. Welcome.
There was 50 to over 70 ocean-going canoes, some coming all the way from Aleut Nation in Alaska. They didn't pull all the way down, they came down and they joined us. They have the skin canoes.
And when Mr. Jacks passed after drowning, did your tribe have a celebration for him or prayers?
This is what is called a memorial band, and it was to honor his journey to the spirit world on this canoe journey, and to honor his life. And the way we see it, if you're gonna go, you might as well go doing something cultural, and you know, all of us are praying for the family.
On ours is a paddle for the elders that's passed on, and the one that's left home.
And what tribe are you with?
I'm with the whole Rivers tribe from Sgt Nation. We are the Smelt people. And the canoe is named after my Uncle Judge. That's why it's the Judge, because he passed away 3 years ago. We named it after him.
And could you tell me how long you've been on this journey?
I've been on this journey for 2.5 weeks from West Coast all the way around, and we've been traveling hard. So I've been having a lot of kids and a lot of ladies in my canoe. So.
Well, what's a day like? What's a day like pulling this canoe?
Well, some days it's really calm, and some days it's pretty rough on how well we handle it. And it's a few days ago we lost one of our elderly chiefs out on one of the journeys from Victoria.
This was Mr. Jacks.
Yes. So we honor this paddle to him as well as other families that passed on.
So what was it like in those big waves out in the Straits of Juan de Fuca?
Oh, it was scary. It was scary very much because I was scared for my crew because I had a lot of young kids with me, and we went back into shore ordinarily not to flip to save their lives as well as mine.
Well, thank you very much.
I learned the true value of our arts and culture and our religion because white people cannot profit from it. Therefore, they outlawed it. And we are now recapturing what the Christians have stolen from us, our arts, our culture, our religion.
And in the 60s, 70s, 80s, up to the present, what specific aspects of your culture are dearest to you?
The language, I barely speak it and barely understand it now. When I was in an orphanage run by Christians, they would put brown laundry soap in our mouth for speaking our language. And when I grew up to be a teenager, we were being taught how to write a business letter, and I wrote them a business letter. And I said, supposing history was reversed and you were put in our care for safekeeping and growing up, we would not deny you your religion, your art, your culture, your way of life. We would try to support you. We would not try to dominate you with our own religion. That was a gross mistake.
My name is Sgt Pinocchio. If you join the Army, you're gonna love it, just like I do. Hooah! Hooah!
My first day in basic training, our drill sergeant sat our entire platoon down and said, I don't want to hear what your recruiter said because it was mostly bullshit. I don't want to hear you say, well, my recruiter said this, my recruiter said that, you're in the Army now, and you're going to do what we say, you're going to deploy if that's what needs to be done.
I'd done my 4 years, my time was up, I had served honorably. I wasn't happy about I wasn't happy about my time in the Marine Corps, but I definitely didn't have a horrible taste in my mouth yet. And then 2 days before I was supposed to get discharged, my first sergeant called me into his office and said, I'm sorry to tell you this, but as of this morning, the Secretary of the Navy signed a stop-loss order. You're not going home, you're going to Iraq with the rest of the unit. This was 2 days before I thought I was going home for good. I literally had a completed checkout folder. All I had to do was sit for 2 days and I was going home, no questions asked. And then suddenly I was told I wasn't going home, I was going to Iraq.
Darn! What's happening to my nose?
And I was really upset and confused and didn't know where to go. I thought I was the only person who ever felt that way, somebody who had fought in a war and came home opposed to it. But luckily, I was put in touch with Veterans for Peace.
And if you asked yourself today, before you signed any lines with any recruiters, do you believe that we should be killing people? And your answer is no, then you shouldn't be doing it for a college or for a job or for any type of anything, because the real purpose of it is to kill. And it doesn't matter whether you were a cook or a supply sergeant. You're part of the machinery, which is indicative of death. That's the only thing it's built for, is death.
Maybe you had a bad experience, but I got a whole squad full of men here that can testify that they love their recruiter. Hooah! I said hooah! Hey, I said hooah! Hooah!
I joined as supply. I was told that that's a non-combat job, so the likelihood of me seeing combat was very low, and I was told that I wouldn't be going to combat anyway because I had requested it when I went to the recruiter. Shortly after my arrival in my unit, I found out that I was deploying to Iraq. I told my first sergeant, my commander, that I was told on recruitment that I wouldn't be deploying. They told me that I was lied to by the recruiters. It's fairly standard practice for that to happen. And I'm going to deploy with my unit. There's no way for me to get out of it.
I went to see the recruiter. I thought he was a joker. And in the military, we know that the recruiters are the biggest jokers in the military. They're the guys that usually avoid the deployments, and they spend several years at a time just as recruiters, not really doing anything, shining a desk.
Oh no! My nose!
Because of the military and because of the war, your tuition is going up. They're cutting tuition assistance. You know, they're cutting public transportation. Energy costs have gone through the roof because of the war. And mass transit isn't getting federal subsidies because that money's going to the war and the military instead of going to mass transit. All these things are happening to you. And then all of a sudden in the middle of it, this recruiter comes up and says, hey, if you join the military, we'll give you tuition assistance, we'll give you some cash in your pocket, we'll give you health care. I get mad about that. It's like somebody stealing your dinner and then offering to sell it back to you. But most of them are selected to be recruiters. So they're pulled out of their jobs, they have to do this, and they're told, you meet your quotas or you get a bad fit rep. In the Marine Corps, one bad fit rep as a staff NCO, you're not going to get promoted again. They're not going to allow you to re-enlist, and you're going to lose your job.
The United States military, based on all of the events from all the wars prior, now knows where it has to go to recruit. It knows who its target market is. They try to find the people who are on the bottom third economically and go talk to them about where they can get a job. But then they'll offer them and promise them college, like as an option. When the statistics are in that this money, 90% of the people who get money for Army College Fund or GI Bills don't use it.
I'm telling you, war makes you a better man. Hooah! Hooah!
Going into combat changes you fundamentally for the rest of your life. I know, talking from the Vietnam vets I've met, the World War II vets, all these other combat veterans, no matter what the war, no matter what the cause and the reason, you'll never put it behind you. You'll never forget it. These memories will stick with you for the rest of your life, for better or for worse. It's not like the movies. It's not like video games. This is what happens. People die. People like myself, a lot of your friends, when we go from being on base to going to a war zone, we become killers while we're there. That is what we need to do to survive.
You calling me a liar? Darn, there goes my nose again. Hooah! Hooah!
The Army expects everyone, all the soldiers, to be able to turn it on and turn it off just like that. And you know what happens when you create this beast. The soldiers coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, from 82nd Airborne Division, killing their wives. There was like five or six instances after the first rotation of troops started coming back and going back to Fort Bragg, where the soldiers were coming back, brutalizing their wives, killing themselves. I've had friends in the Army that have committed suicide. War changes you. It changes everybody. Whether you're the man on the front line, whether you're the man sitting in the desert in Kuwait looking out into nothing, it changes you. And it changed me. And I'm just, trying to get back to being the person that I was before I went in the Army.
I watched it happen to the guys out. They come home, all of a sudden they were in the clink. All of a sudden they were in some, psych ward. All of a sudden they were, incarcerated for rape or violent crime. We have 15,000, 20,000 Desert Storm veterans that are incarcerated for rape or violent crime.
I started having problems with nightmares and flashbacks, anxiety attacks, what's called startle reflex, which is basically you might get startled by a loud noise and you might jump and, your heart rate goes up for a few seconds, whereas it happens to me, I jump, I dive for cover, and I can't calm down for the next 10 minutes because I think it's a mortar about to crash down on my head.
Some of you may think this war is stamped with the image of Abu Ghraib, but that's not true. Hooah! Hooah!
My sergeant took us to the side and talked to about 4 Marines, our fire team, and told us that if we were to kill a civilian, that we would drop an AK-47 behind his body. He also told us how we can change our MREs, our meals ready to eat, for alcohol, cigarettes, and sometimes sex from the Iraqi children. And to me, that just tells me, you know, this guy isn't as honorable as I thought he was. He was supposed to earn his rank of sergeant of Marines, but apparently he hasn't. And this is the man who was going to lead me into battle.
I was injured in combat. I received a Purple Heart for my wounds from a roadside bomb. If you get hit by a roadside bomb, you have no idea who did it. There's plenty of people living around there. As you see what's happening, I've been in the same situations. I watched a few of my buddies get hit and die, and there was no one there to take my anger out on. There was no enemy. So we just shot anything we could see.
Oh, shoot! No, I don't mean shoot! I mean shoot! I mean ceasefire!
Originally, when I went in the military, I used to come home and people go, man, there's nothing different about you. And so I thought I was beating that stereotypical brainwashing that everybody tells you happens in the military. I thought, yeah, look at me, I'm beating it. And then when I became a drill sergeant, I realized I was it. I wasn't beating anything. I actually, well, though my characteristics and my behavior were still the same, mentally and inside between my 2 ears, I had become a product of the machinery, and now I was entrusted with creating new product. And I was creating soldiers who were programmed to say, kill, kill, kill. What makes the green grass grow, drill sergeant? Blood, blood, blood. You know, so I started watching this, and I started realizing that if you give somebody information repetitively over and over again, they'll start to believe it regardless. The military doesn't see the troops as humans. They're no longer humans. They don't have a human attachment to it. And I lost it. I started losing my attachment to humanity right there on the spot when I watched these young soldiers just getting pummeled by drill sergeants, just beaten repetitively.
I was so filled with Fox News and the media that we're getting, and it's just pure propaganda. And I was filled with all that, so the anti-Muslim sentiment was in me. I'm not going to lie about it. You know, that's what we were fed in the U.S.
Yeah, well, joining the military gives you health benefits. Bet you're not getting that back on the block. Hooah!
When I was in training, I had a fall, and when I went to the hospital for it, they had me lay down and they felt my back and told me I had pulled muscles in my back. I had been going to the hospital regularly because I'd been having constant pain in my back, and they just kept giving me Tylenol 3, Percocet, you know, oh, you're going to be fine, it's going to heal. 5 months after that, I got a case of pneumonia, and they did an x-ray on my chest to see how much fluid was in my lungs. And they realized that I had 2 fractured vertebrae in my spine. And they said, oh, you could, you know, we could put you in physical therapy and everything, but there's no time for that right now. You'll have to do it when you return from Iraq. So I was pretty shocked to hear that. I started thinking, you know, what's going to happen when I get over there and get my arm blown off? You know, are they just going to bandage it up and send me home and say, oh, well, I'm sorry? I had 9 teeth removed in the military. And the way that they remove teeth in the military, it's unlike the civilian world. My mother had a tooth removed, and they cut open the gum and they remove the tooth. The way they remove my teeth is they stick an instrument that looks similar to a screwdriver in the cavity area, and they apply pressure and twist it until the tooth shatters. And they remove the tooth with forceps. They removed 9 teeth in that manner. Broke my jaw twice doing it. When they pulled out the tooth, there was actually a piece of my jaw the size of a dime or a nickel attached to it. I don't have any back teeth really, so eating is a bit difficult for me.
I was cheated. I wanted to stand for something. I wanted to believe the dream.
The indoctrination is so subtle and it's so extended. That's why they don't let you just go in for 6 months. That's why they don't let you just go in for 1 month and try it out. When you go in for years.
If you have any doubt in your mind whether or not you want to kill people, then I mean, just start questioning yourself, question everything, question authority.
I've had it. How can a soldier be proud when he's fighting a bad war? They have us out there committing war crimes, and they don't even care any more about us than they do about those we're killing. I feel betrayed. Truth is, I'm brokenhearted. Ooh-ah. I see why those Vietnam guys all said FTA. I mean, fuck the Army. And fuck all those assholes who sent us over here. They're screwing America. And they're really screwed me. Hooah. I'll tell you one thing, and it's the honest truth. If you join, you're gonna regret it. You want to be tough? Be tough enough not to go in. Serve the people, not the privileged.
You know, when you talk to high school students especially, tell them to go talk to your guidance counselors. If they do their job, they'll find you scholarships, they'll find you grants, they'll find you job training programs. All of them, I mean, there's millions of dollars of money every year that goes away wasted because nobody applies for the training or the money.
There was no day that I ever served in the Army that my involvement made any American any safer. Not one day.
There's a reason they all said FTA back in the day.
They did a study of CBS Evening News, NBC Nightly News, ABC Evening News, and the News Hour with Jim Lehrer, PBS. The 4 major newscasts, 2 weeks. 393 interviews on war. 3 were anti-war voices. 3 of almost 400, and that included PBS. This has to be changed.
What do you have to say about the Iraq War and what's going on in Baghdad?
What I have to say about Arab country, Arab land, Arab oil should be left to the Arabs. The Republicans should not be trying to horn in on the profit of the oil and having our own people killed over there for their own profitable gain. This is a gross judgment on our people. Other countries are hating us, and it's the Republicans that are destroying us. They have led us down the path of destruction. We have to get rid of the Republicans at all costs by voting them out of office. Even, I know the illegal aliens, when they hear something cute by a politician, they vote for him, whether it makes sense or not. Like President Bush said, if we fail, we may not succeed. How dumb does he think he's philosophical by saying if we fail, we may not succeed? Doesn't one word describe the other? When will you put an intelligent Native American in office?
Thank you.
newspaper that it was.